Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you the BSL Finals. The Bombastic StarLeague is coming to a close, and we have a best-of-7 between these two players, Dewalt, our Russian Protoss player, and Mihu, our Chinese Terran. This should be a really interesting finals. This is actually a matchup that I'm very excited to see. You know, Mihu played a very kind of different, very late upgrade style, really his own brand of StarCraft through the tournament, whereas Dewalt feels to me to be a little bit more on top of the standard metagame right now. So I'm not sure exactly how they're going to match up. I'm favoring Dewalt, but it's a best-of-7. Anything can happen. We're really going to get to the bottom of who is deserving to be the champion this season. Wavelet, our first map. Let's get started in game number 1. All right, here we go in the bottom right of Wavelet. We have none other than Mihu. And in the bottom left, we have Dewalt. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the styles of these players, okay? First off, Dewalt. He plays very modern StarCraft. This guy is really training basically to be Korean pro gamer level. And I mean, I say it a lot. I do feel like he's the strongest overall foreigner player. Really respect his skills. He's got great multitasking, great micro, great builds, great understanding, and he executes very well. Stylistically, specifically in this matchup, we do see a lot of speed shuttles out of him. He does love the backstab plays, where Terran gets a little bit out of position and he goes for the main base with shuttles, things like that. So I think that that's going to be a really crucial thing. Now, that being said, Mihu doesn't play really on the very edge of safety as much as a lot of Terran players do, right? Like it's pretty trendy to, I guess, be taking your third base as quickly as you can. And well, I guess it's actually become less trendy because a lot of players do play like Dewalt, right? Where it's a lot of backstabbing and a lot of units early on, that type of thing. But Mihu specifically, I guess his upgrades have been later, not just in TVP, but TVZ as well, than a lot of players. And, you know, that's allowing him to do things like get a few more units out. So I think there's going to be a certain level of stability that could be hard for Dewalt to deal with if he tries to play, like, really in your face, get in there with the speed shuttle types of plays. But I'm not entirely sure. I don't want to overjudge Mihu, since I haven't seen as many of his games, right? I've only really I think I've seen a couple Mihu games outside of BSL, but really just against his countrymen in that TVP series that we saw in the round of 8, and then of course his Terran versus Zerg against Sihi. But yeah, he's played mechanically very well, very strong macro and all that, so definitely something he's going to need here against Dewalt. Now, they are horizontal spawns against each other. And I don't know if that's going to affect things too much. Like, the push distance is not that far for Mihu. They both might grow vertically along the map. It's hard to say exactly which style will prevail here. Now, Dewalt, absolutely scoutless. Going for that very quick Nexus here with the Cybernetics core. And again, a very, like, kind of trending build right now. There we go. The Nexus is going to be going down very, very quickly. 305 with just about 20 supply. No range or anything as of yet. Going to throw those probes on, and that's going to be a very late Trigoon range coming out of him. Now, Mihu actually does not end scout. Instead, opts to just scout around the map normally. And I believe I see him building a third supply depot. So, honestly, there's no range. If Mihu decides to pull SCVs, there is actually a possibility that he can kill the Nexus. So, that actually could be really interesting. Walks out these Marines and instantly takes the shields off of this Dragoon almost completely. So, of course, the Dragoon does have to walk back. Oh, I think I see SCVs being pulled. And you know what? Like, he went 3 depot. This is something that you can do if you scout around the map. You can go for third depot, and if they already have their Nexus up when you get there with the SCV at the third scout, it generally means they did cut something. Oh my god. Oh my god, the probe is actually wiggling by here, and Did he not send SCVs? I saw something moving through his main base. I guess maybe it was a Vulture and SCV going to the natural. I thought he was actually going to pull. But anyways, he's not going for that pull. He has gone for a Vulture expansion. He's skipping out on the bunker for now, which is totally fine. And the Vulture is up, so you can kind of keep tabs on what Dewalt is doing. Bunker, of course, going to be coming up a little bit afterwards. You still have to be safe here. 3 Dragoons will massacre 4 Marines. And yeah, I guess at the end of the day, we just have to say that Dewalt gets a reasonable advantage here, right? Like, the command center is quite a bit later than the Nexus, so we are in that double probe production right now. He's completely safe. Obviously, those Vultures can't really do anything, but they do give a little bit of map control, so that's good. Robo coming up here for Dewalt as well. We've seen that he does like going for like a very slow Reaver, getting Observer out pretty quickly. A lot of times 3-gate goons even, just making a lot of units, making sure that he's completely safe and stable. Now some mines being laid. Mihu, not really sure of what Dewalt is doing as of yet, right? Like 3 Dragoons don't give away all that much. So he's laying a few defensive mines like in front of his natural, making a spread here as well just to watch when Dewalt tries to walk out. That 3rd base being mined up, he's going to want to mine up 9 o'clock as well. Very standard stuff here from Mihu in the opener. Dewalt getting that 2nd gas. Yeah, here comes the eBay. And this is after a 2nd factory. Oh, and in fact, a 2nd add-on as well. That's kind of interesting to me. And, all right, so Mihu, like, I mean, it's pretty stable. In a lot of ways, it's the mirror of what Dewalt is doing, right? He's going 3-gate. Observer, that's basically safe against everything in the entire game. What we see from Mihu, this is basically safe against everything in the entire game. He gets some mines out first, goes into 2 factories, and then gets an eBay, right? He's not like jumping forward on that armory. That was something I was talking about as this match started, right? He is a little bit slower on things like that. So he's going to be safe. He's good. He's just kind of macroing up. This is kind of interesting, the way that they're both playing it. Generally, Terrans are pretty happy to have gone for a pretty quick armory against a build like this, but I don't think that you necessarily have to. I'm not like disagreeing with Mihu's stylistic choice so far this game, but I do find it interesting. In fact, he's even throwing down the Academy. So he went eBay. He's making some turrets, which is, you need them. The Observer's still going to get in, get some scouting done. But I do believe that is an Academy before an Armory, which means he's going to have 2 forms of detection. He's going to be able to scout, obviously, with the ComSat scanners. That's what they're going to be for. But definitely very much later upgrades than you normally see, right? Like, oftentimes, a lot of Terran openers, you'll actually be getting your Starport already to start on +2 relatively soon. But of course, this is going to, again, he has a lot of stability. There's like 0% chance of him dying. And he's going to get some scouting done as well. Cool. All right. I'm really enjoying seeing this kind of alternative style. I do like unit-heavy play right now since, a lot of Protosses do go unit-heavy themselves. It feels like with Protoss, there's not as much middle ground. It's a lot of like, okay, make a ton of units or no units, right? And Dewalt is more of the ton of units type of guy. Like, look how many Dragoons he already has here. Now, there goes the armory. Armory being made. A scan goes down. He actually sees the shuttle. He also knows that a 3rd base has been started. Just going to lay some additional mines out here. Going up to 4 factories as well. And yeah, his production is going to stay on par with Dewalt. So Dewalt is not going to get ahead as far as army goes. Not really. Like, he'll peak up in supply above him and everything, but he won't, like, for instance, in this game, we're not really going to see him get into a position where he has enough units to kill Mihu. Definitely is going to have to be a longer game if Dewalt is to take it. And, it's not like Mihu can just attack right now either. He has made a lot of siege tanks, but honestly, against a Reaver coming in and this many Dragoons, I don't think that you have any sort of attack timing, honestly. I'd be pretty surprised if he actually moves across the map, and it looks like he might. Oh, this is fascinating. Okay, the Dragoons are coming down as Mihu moves through the center of the map. And, well, that is a lot of siege tanks. He has a few Marines in here as well. And here comes that very, very important Reaver. Now, the Reaver has to get some hits off here. Oh, that was kind of a weird Scarab. Maybe that hit a mine or something. But yeah, you will be able to pick off this tank. Look at Dewalt move out of the way of these siege tanks. What an interesting play here. Mihu going after the third base. Dewalt, is Dewalt going to counterattack? Missile turret going down. +1 being skipped, at least for now. A lot of mines being laid defensively here. Honestly, I don't think the counterattack is that good of an idea. Like, maybe if he had some speed lots in here. But he can't really clear those mines before defensive tanks can be made. So, it looks like he will go back. And the Reaver's sitting here waiting for incoming Vultures. Okay, so he is going to prevent the Vultures from raiding his mineral line too quickly. The siege tanks are going to have to push up if Mihu is to knock out this base. All right, siege tanks coming up, and look at that. He puts a little bunker down at the front. The Dragoons starting to walk up. That is a lot of Dragoons. Okay, the Reaver's getting a couple good Scarabs. Does end up losing one of these Reavers here, but it looks like there's enough Dragoons overall. So drops out that Reaver as well. Going to start picking off these siege tanks. Beautiful control there from Dewalt, getting the perfect Scarabs off. And he will end up knocking out this army. Okay, so now Dewalt up 30 supply. He's knocked out all of those siege tanks that Mihu has taken so long to make. And now Dewalt has good production as well. I really want to take a look in that main base. It looks like we're up to 6 factories, with the 3rd command center probably on the way and a starport on the way. I think that's what we're looking at in that main base. But obviously this is good for Dewalt. It does not look like a great position for Mihu here. Like, there's not like an 8 siege tank attack across the map timing that you ever really see from Terran players that's successful. Because it kind of like you see there, right? Like, Dewalt went back towards the main base of Mihu. He cut off any reinforcements. And then kind of came back and crushed the army as he got more rounds up. So there is that 3rd command center. There's enough factories here that I think Mihu can't die still. Like, he lost quite a bit, but I think he'll be alive. He'll be okay as long as he's throwing down a lot of missile turrets. The shuttles are going to be probably the hardest part of this. Now, the shuttles fly over before that turret finishes. Only 1 turret in the main base right there. There is another near the command center, but he will turn those shuttles around a little bit. Looks like the Reaver's starting to get a bit of damage here as well. This is not a good situation for Mihu. He did use those Vultures to hit the top left. So at least he does slow down the 4th base here of Dewalt. Dewalt is going to expand a little bit closer with his 4th now. Tanks sieged up now. Shuttles splitting off from one another. Reavers get dropped over into the natural. Ooh, very nice Scarab there. Let's see if he gets another one. Dudded one there. Yeah, and everything kind of stuck right now. Okay, gets a decent one there at the end. Overall, I mean, it's not the end of the world for Mihu, but it feels like that wasn't great. His attack wasn't great. The one thing that was so important was he did deny that nexus with his Vultures. So definitely a very important moment there. Massing up a lot of siege tanks right now, but I do feel like Dewalt can probably take another base. Like, he has restarted his 4th, but I feel like he should be taking his 5th pretty soon here. Adding in some High Templars for Psystorm. Arbiter Tribunal on the way as well. It's like the Dragoons going through the center right now, but Mihu's setting up a rather large minefield here. Dragoons coming up trying to push it back, but well-placed siege tanks will force them back there. Single Wraith has joined in. Can be useful against those speed shuttles coming in, getting past his turrets. Not a terrible idea by any means. And look, this is, I guess, the thing I'm impressed with Mihu is somehow he is ahead on supply right now. Like, he has just been so factory heavy. He added his factories so quickly this game. He really hasn't been prioritizing those upgrades, which is giving him a larger army. So, once again, moves across the map with these vultures, doing a decent job. Vultures may actually fight these goons. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you lay a couple mines here, those goons really have to kind of retreat. Of course, goons do beat vultures pretty handedly otherwise. Excuse me. Well, looks like, yeah, the vultures more coming up to kill off these goons. Kind of a funny thing to see at this point. Mihu's still sitting here on 3 bases. Dewalt on 4 right now. I'm a little bit nervous for Mihu, right? Like, I'm sure he has a healthy SCV count. So his main and natural, I mean, will eventually mine out here. We're kind of getting to that point in a couple of minutes where you're going to be very low on those mineral patches, and you really got to think about a 4th base. Now, I don't think it's too hard for him to take a 4th base. I mean, look at his supply. Sitting here at 180. Not bad. Dewalt a little bit higher with a bit more of a bank, too. A little bit ahead as far as tech as well, I would say. Lots of factories added here for Mihu also. A few Dragoons picked off in the center. It's interesting to watch, like, these fighting vultures, right? Like, you definitely can utilize vultures to kill smaller amounts of Dragoons, but he's being pretty darn aggressive about it overall. And this top left base is just having such a hard time. Like, Dewalt has kept the majority of his army kind of turtled up in front of his natural. But if he continually loses his 5th base, obviously that is, like, really good for Mihu. And Dewalt, it seems like... Oh, there we go. The sound returning to normal. Sorry about that. But yeah, obviously this is not a good thing if you're canceling your 4th/5th base like 3-4 times in a game. It's really going to slow down his economy. You really do want that 5th base up by now. Okay, 4th base on location we see. A lot of shuttles out here right now. I think there's some High Templars in those. Do have an Arbiter out, as we just saw as well. And Dewalt kind of taking a bit of a sneak expansion up at like 1202. All right, 1-1 upgrades done. See if that +2 finishes pretty quickly here. Mihu's starting to move out a little bit. Still no +2 attack. 17 minutes in. I mean, that's pretty darn late, to be honest. Like, you can have +3 done at this point, but obviously the game would look very, very different than this very unit-heavy play from Mihu. It's definitely not only one way to play StarCraft. We do have the double armories spinning right now, so 2-2 is on the way. Mihu's securing that 3rd base. Actually has a reasonable bank. Look at that. Very close to Dewalt's size bank. Lots of mines going down right now. Tons of missile turrets going down as well. Really fearful of those speed shuttles and the Arbiter recalls, of course. Dewalt answering in kind with his own cannons. Setting up those, defensive spots where it's going to be very hard for him to push in. Ah, yeah, and look at that Arbiter as well. Okay, gonna drop these out. Ooh, the mine's actually clearing quite a bit. That drop not doing that well for Dewalt. Like, he does kill some SCVs, but there's gonna be a lot of extra SCVs because the main and natural are mined out for Mihu. Like, that's an important thing to consider. Now, it looks like we just had a recall go down. A lot of Zealots going in to this 3rd base location. He pulls a lot of the SCVs very quickly, and very importantly as well. Don't forget he lost some SCVs there. So you don't want to lose too many here. Spending your money remaking SCVs, that's not where you want to be in this type of situation. All right, looks like he will clean that up. Dewalt starting to get things going together for him a little bit, but not maxed out and no real bank to speak of. Those slower bases really biting him in the butt right now. Speed shuttle's still sitting there. I don't think there's actually anything in that speed shuttle, so no worries about that. Arbiter pushing forward here, going for that stasis. Oh, the EMP comes out. I guess maybe there wasn't a stasis, or he just wasn't looking at one or the other. No Goliath range yet, actually, for Mihu. Definitely going to want to get that started. And Mihu pushing through the center. He is maxed out against just a 179 Dewalt. You know, Dewalt made just a couple, like, real attacks in here. Look at how Dragoon heavy his army is. Oh my god, that's a lot of Dragoons. Now Mihu's sieging up here at that third base location. The gigantic amount of Dragoons begins to push through the center of the map. All right, Zealot's coming around. Oh no. Well, the Psy Storms can definitely do fantastically. Some great Psy Storms do end up going down here. Can he get another on those very damaged tanks? Doesn't look like he can. The Zealot's being very much wasted, though, unfortunately. Trying to run down that ramp against Mass Vulture Siege Tank. In the meantime, these goons starting to push up the hill, but 5 tanks in siege mode. Even with just +1 attack, going to fare reasonably well here with the mines slowing everything down. Vulture's coming up to help now as well. Some great zoning going on from Mihu, but I think that really what we saw here was Dewalt making a couple poor choices, like those Zealots and High Templars going down towards his third. Or maybe we'll call that his fourth base, rather. Definitely a bit wasteful. Dewalt is taking the top left now. Still down a bit in supply. Mihu pushing across. Nice pick off there. Gets rid of that very pesky science vessel. All right, tanks coming forward. Now, we don't have a lot of vultures here, so could be a little bit difficult. Some great Zealot bombs coming out right now. High Templars being dropped as well. Not all of them with Storm energy yet. Dewalt trying to clean up what he can. Zealots going to the left side a little bit more. Those Dragoons still fighting by themselves, so those will be picked up very easily. All right, well, it looks like Dewalt will end up cleaning this up. But, I mean, if you're like me, you have your eyes kind of glued at that top right. Dewalt's supply, not very high comparatively. But, to be fair, Mihu, he's on 2 bases, but that's not going to last forever, right? Like, he needs to get another. It looks like he does start another command center at the top right natural, so that's going to be very, very important. If Dewalt could stop that, I could see him whittling this all down and taking this game. But he definitely does need to start whittling things down. All right, some mines trying to be dragged into these siege tanks. Goliath's coming up for that pick-off. That'd be a great pick right now on that Arbiter. Ooh, a little bit sloppy there from Dewalt. Fortunately, tries the stasis, only gets 3 Goliaths, so not really all that worthwhile. Will end up losing it. Dewalt kind of scrambling here to get his supply up to snuff to be able to fight against this incoming Mihu army, just being rallied over relentlessly now. Dewalt clearing some of these mines. I mean, he does have a pretty good economy right now, but these small engagements that we're seeing where it's like 6 goons walking up and trying to do things, like, it is not working out for him right now. And as 2-2 upgrades have finished now for Mihu, going to be even more cost efficient with these attacks. All right, some vultures going up, and oh my god, siege tanks being spread out. Going to take down some of those cannons and probably the wall there of that third base. Dewalt trying to push around, trying to find a way in, but it seems like there's just enough defense everywhere right now. Is Mihu spread thin enough for Dewalt to actually take a favorable battle in the center now? A few Dragoons coming over and trying to mess up this 5th base. Mine's going to slow that down, at least for now. Uh-oh, third base really under fire. Protoss army going to rotate around a little bit through that third base location. Yeah, this little depot wall is giving him such a headache. Look at this, trying to shove up this ramp. Can't do it even against a single siege tank. So some great defensive structures there from Mihu. Now, we don't want to be bleeding units off. Does a little bit there. We hear another observer die as well. They do have speed, so he pulls this one back pretty quickly. Mihu's overall zoning, though, doing so fantastically here on Wavelet. Seems like Dewalt's just having such a hard time finding any real place to engage. Very speedlot heavy army at the moment. Gonna have to really watch out for these vultures. Oh my god, losing some of these high templars as well. More storms going down. But yeah, he is just so zealot heavy at the moment. Dewalt trying to rally out of that top base a little bit as well. I wonder what the minerals are actually looking like for Mihu at his third base location. The one thing, it's really interesting to see from Mihu, because I think he would be in trouble if Dewalt could kill a base, right? Because he's basically just keeping himself on 2 base the entire time. Like, maybe he'll go to 3 momentarily, but then 1 mines out. But really, that's what you need as Terran. If you have 2 mining bases and you've already bought your upgrades, you've already bought your infrastructure, that's enough to kind of fuel your army. And he's been doing a great job of that. In fact, starts another command center in that top right while he continues to push. Speed shuttle coming over. We'll see what's in that for some harassment. He drops out a couple of zealots. Slowed that down, I guess. Maybe High Templars? Yeah, some decent storms going down, hurting that economy a little bit at least. Oh, that's a lot of red SCVs right there. Oh, we don't have a storm right now. Even dropping a High Templar on that bunch would actually kill them from Siege Tank Splash. But obviously, you're not sitting there clicking on every SCV and figuring it out like our Observer can. Yeah, look at that spread of science vessels. Now that's beautiful. That's something you don't see every day. The spread making it very hard. Dewalt's trying to use some of these tactics where you're like running with a single Zealot and an Arbiter to drag some mines into tanks, you know, just kind of do whatever you can there. But unable to do it. So many EMPs and Defense Matrix is just completely ready here for Mihu. I'm not sure where that vessel is going. Maybe chasing the Arbiter. Not going to work out this time, though. And it looks like we do have a recall set for the top right base. Dewalt going to see if he can get some economic damage done here to Mihu. He's taken just about as many bases as he can. And almost there as far as energy. Not quite. He needs just a little bit more here. Trying to dive down towards the natural. Okay, he does have the energy now, but doesn't do it in time. That's painful. Flying in at like 145 energy, taking that extra damage, and then kind of panicking towards the natural. That's like a very wasted Arbiter, unfortunately. Now, the main bulk of army coming up here for Mihu. He's going to be able to easily push back this Protoss force. Right, EMP goes down on that army. Nice Psystorm as well. 3-3 upgrades now done for our Terran player. So it takes him a bit to get there, but you know what? He got there very well and kind of dominating the map now. A bigger bank than Dewalt. Up 40 supply as well. And now going after the last real quality bases that Dewalt has. Dewalt simply has to do something now. He has to just run through these mines as quickly as possible and save at least the top left main. Honestly, it's looking pretty bad for Dewalt overall. He needs some really fantastic moves to get himself back into this game. Look at this. Everything getting completely splattered. Now, Dewalt trying his own counterattack, deciding that main army is a bit too tough to fight, and I think he's probably right about that. Now, coming up with all of his units to the top right of the map. He'll be able to clear this little group reasonably well, but can he break in here? He's very low on the Zealots. The tank's going to be able to splatter a lot of these Dragoons. Oh, a great stasis does go down, so the Dragoon's going to be able to push into here. But is there a reinforcing army coming up? Okay, it looks like he's split off a lot of army from the top left to help deal with this push-in. Does end up getting the Arbiter there as well. Looks like this base is going to fall for Dewalt. Honestly, I think Dewalt is just about dead at this point. I know he still has a 3K bank. He's remaking, you know, his fourth base, his third. Yeah, it's almost mined out. But basically, as Mihu kills this off, he still has this very, very fresh base. He's got those 3-3 upgrades. He's twice the supply almost of Dewalt. And Mihu making a big statement here in game number 1. Even though he lost that first siege tank army, able to fight back, I think it was really, really key for him canceling that top left 5th base like 3 times. I think that's really where Dewalt got hung up a little bit. You can see now he's almost out of gas. Everything going wrong for him. I mean, as soon as Mihu realizes he can siege up that mineral base as well, and that's almost no mining left over. Well, scrambling out onto the map with whatever he can, whatever he has left here. Obviously, this is not going to take a very good fight, even though it's got some fantastic upgrades as well. Not as good as that 3-3 for Terran. Just does not scale as well. Yeah, and you can kind of see, right? Like, Mihu has stabilized the top right bases, and those are the 2 bases that he has. The other bases all run out at this point. Some great defense matrices going down. Oh my god, just the amount of vessels he's made. Really paying off here. Well, I guess the game is pretty much already over anyways. And Dewalt feeling the power of Mihu. Yeah, I think that's going to be about it. GG is called. Dewalt saying he's tired. And that's going to be 1-0 for Mihu here.